Welcome to Planet Marzipan Podcast,
your fish and Marillion podcast,
where we talk about all things in the planet of Marillion and fish. I'm Mezza, and here's my mate,
Craig Houston.
Hello, and welcome to another Planet Marzipan podcast. We're here with another special guest, and it's the return of an old favourite by popular demand.
Nice to see you, nice.
Mr. Mark Kennedy's tunnelled
Hello.
out Racket headquarters again, got past the guards, and he's here.
Yep, let us out for the night.
So he's here to help us talk about Radiation, Marillion's 10th album. So we'll do our normal bits. Craig, how old were you when Radiation came out?
1998. I was a ripe old age of 26.
Ooh. That's the oldest one yet, isn't it?
That's the oldest one yet. We haven't escaped the 90s yet. We're trapped in an 80s, 90s bubble at the minute.
So you're out of short trousers then?
Well, I wouldn't say that.
So we'll do the Wikipedia and then we can get stuck into the album if that's okay. So Radiation is the 10th studio album by British neo-progressive rock band Marillion, released in 1998. Recorded at the Racket Club between November 1997 and June 1998. It was co-produced and mixed by Stuart Every. The album was remixed by Michael Hunter in September to November 2012, and a reissued remastered version was released in 2013. So got some good memories of that time, guys?
Yeah, I think so. It's all a bit of it was quite a busy time, really, wasn't it? I mean, I'd end of 98, I'd met my first wife. I'd just quit my job, and I was in the process of moving back to Newcastle, so there was a lot going on.
Yeah. And does this album bring back memories of that time?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I used to I'd finish work on a Friday night and I'd drive from Aberdeen to Newcastle.
Wow.
And then drive back again on the Sunday night. So, and I hadn't met Craig yet. That came a little bit.
Life Before Craig.
There was Life Before Craig.
The album was released on the 21st of September 98 in the UK, but it was preceded a week earlier by a single, These Chains. Hey, and Mark's got a copy there.
The only Marillion single I think I've still got an actual physical copy of.
Is it?
And yeah. This was can I swear?
Yeah, go for it.
This was a right bastard to find.
It was on the release.
It was almost as bad as the You Dinosaur Thing single.
But not quite. So I got that while I was still in Aberdeen. I think, if I remember right, when Castle did the singles, and it was the same for Man of a Thousand Faces and 80 Days on This Strange Engine, they only produced a limited amount of the singles, and they weren't widely distributed.
Yeah.
I think somewhere I'd read once that there was only something like 1,000 copies or something in the UK of each kind of single. So people go, well, it didn't chart very well. Well, it didn't chart very well because A, it was hardly available anywhere, and B, there wasn't enough copies for it to chart.
Yeah.
There was only ever one format.
It was a good track to trail the album, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a great track.
Some nice B-sides as well. B-sides, but some
Big Plastic Trees.
And Memory of Water
from the Walls.
Yeah.
And Memory of Water, big beat. Well,
yeah.
We'll talk about that a bit later on when we talk about live gigs, because that's just amazing live.
I think poor H was tortured as well, wasn't he, making the video of this because he was stuck down some stuck down some well getting dripped on.
Yeah, should have Skippy. Come quick, H just falling down the well.
What's that, Skippy? You said leave from there.
It was not the greatest video, was it? It was
There's a theme. How many times have we said not the greatest video already in this?
It's not a sassing video like we talked about last week.
It's not at that level. No.
Man of 1,000 Faces made Man of 1,000 Faces look like Citizen Kane.
Very basic CGI. That was back in the day.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that was it. I thought it was a good single. I thought.
It was a good lead off into the album.
The album appeared.
Well, we'd already had the album before then, though.
Well, we had.
This was back in the day where you had quite a lot of promos going around, like a month or so before an album came out. I mean,
where did you get yours from?
You didn't get it from Steel Wheels, did you?
Probably.
I got mine. I got a promo of Anorak from Steel Wheels about a month before it came out.
Yeah, it was either Steel Wheels or Old Hits. I can't remember which one it was. In Newcastle, it was one of the two of them. But it was like back at the time because we got I think we got Strange Engine early, and we got Ice Cream Genius early as well. Back in the days there.
I got my copy from Vinyl Exchange in Manchester, probably about 3 weeks before it came out. I've got very vivid memories of getting the CD in Manchester, and then I had a plug-in portable CD player that ran off the cigarette lighter in the car. So we were listening to it coming back over from Manchester. And I have to say, it was a bit of a strange listen. It wasn't quite what I was expecting, if I'm honest.
No. Yeah.
You know, we'd gone from a really polished sound to this sort of almost lo-fi stuff, a lot of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a big change because it was a quite acoustically driven Strange Engine to quite a grungy, for want of a better term, sound with Radiation. It was a big contrast.
Well, you get fair warning. You Costa del Slau's, fair warning.
You can tell it's going to be a bit different, can't
you? Yeah. We're not in sort of. I know it's a different sounding album, but Brave floored me in a different way. I thought, I'll talk about that when we do Brave, but at the time I thought, what the hell's this? My favourite band have lost it. But we'll talk about it.
I didn't quite think that, but it was a bit.
Whereas this was just different. It's a real sort of. It's all over the place. This album, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's a lot of little, on the original version, a lot of little bits in between the tracks and
snippets and callbacks to other tracks and things.
Yeah,
I really liked those little snippets and callbacks and things on the original version. It just had a charm to it.
Yeah.
So I must admit, I don't go back and play Radiation a lot, but I've played it quite a bit in the last 2 weeks, and it's a really good album.
I've had it on. I thought I'd better do some homework this time, so I've had it on every day for about the last 3 or 4 days, and I've forgotten what a good album it actually is.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, Under the Sun, great up-tempo track, good start to the album. After TSE, probably what we needed, I think, wasn't it?
Bit of a shake.
Get the President's blood pumping.
Yeah, bit up-tempo.
So, yeah, and then on to the Answering Machine.
Yeah, which was the original version was quite different, wasn't it? The original version was more an acoustic.
It was, yeah. Am I right in thinking Eric Nielsen?
Yeah, it was Eric. As far as I know, it was Eric that sort of suggested that they not grunge it up a bit, but give it a bit of a kick up the arse.
Yeah, and it's definitely that. I mean, it's probably the most. Looking down the track list, it's probably the most out there track on the album, I think.
Yeah.
And then on to one of my favourites on the album, 3 Minute Boy.
Yeah, can't whack it.
Can't whack 3 Minute Boy, no. It's cracking tune.
Yeah.
The best thing Paul McCartney ever wrote.
Yeah.
I thought it was when the Gallagher actually,
yeah, and it's grown into a massive live classic now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just so good. So
it was interesting going back to, I'll talk about them later on, but going back to some of the front row discs, because there's 3, I think, from this tour. And to hear 3 Minute Boy without the crowd joining in at the end is very strange, because it was too new. They didn't know about it at that time.
It doesn't go on for like an extra 10 minutes.
No. And then turn the volume up. Now She'll Never Know.
I love Now She'll Never Know, but it didn't last very long on the tour, though, did it? I think they dropped it fairly quickly. I definitely saw them do it.
We saw them do it in Manchester.
Yeah, I think I saw them do it in. Did they do it in London?
Don't know. They did it in Manchester, definitely.
Yeah, they did it. And they did do it in London, and I just remember getting really annoyed.
Yeah, people were talking.
Blah blah blah. People talking all the way through it.
It's one of H's best lyrics for me. It's an absolute classic.
Yeah,
it really is.
I never liked it to begin with much, but it did grow on us a lot quite quickly.
This and House, the lyric just absolutely nails it. Fantastic. And then These Chains that we've talked about, and Born to Run.
Yeah.
You struggle with that.
Brothers Plays the Blues.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan, if I'm honest.
No.
It's just a standard blues, isn't it? It's nothing. Am I missing something?
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I don't mind it. I don't love it.
People love it. I don't
dislike it, but I think
it's just a standard blues for me. I suppose.
I just remember there's some great lines in it. What's globally altered and dishevelled? That's a great line.
Yeah. There's nice lyrics in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it does set up Cathedral Wall to come blasting in after it.
Yeah. And to call back, did we not win the first pub quiz at the weekend because of Born to Run, because David knew the Battleship Grey line during the lyric round?
You might be right. I don't know.
I think when we beat the band.
Oh right, yeah.
Dave got in first.
Dave had a moment of clarity.
Yeah.
There weren't many of them. Yeah. Hello, Dave, if you're listening, we love you.
Yeah.
He will be. He's desperate to come on. And then
we were talking about Cathedral Wall, weren't we, Craig? You say you're not a big fan?
I used to really, really like Cathedral Wall, but over the years, unlike, Now She'll Never Know, that's grown for me. But Cathedral Wall, I've kind of gone off it a bit. I don't know what it is. It's just something that's...
Yeah, a little bit.
I listened to Front Row Disc 1. Where is it? I've got it here somewhere. Which is from...
Germany, isn't it?
Seeberg, yeah.
Yeah.
And H does the scream live. How the hell he did that?
Yeah.
Never know. He does a scream at the end of Cathedral Wall and he nails it. Absolutely nails it. And then the last track on the album, A Few Words for the Dead.
Classic.
I think it's a classic, but this is where John now admits how many years did you say it was 5 minutes of dribble?
6 minutes of shit. Followed by a big payoff. I've changed my opinion slightly. It's worth it for the payoff.
It's worth it. That's it. Yeah, it's worth it for the payoff. I just love the build. I love the slow build up.
Just amazing.
Oh, you could love.
I just love it. And it's one of the. I think I said when I did that thing with Lucy on YouTube, it's one of the videos that I'm most pleased with.
Yeah.
How it turned out. We're really happy with it.
And it's a great live track, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember, Craig, when we saw the H band do it in Sheffield?
I've got vague recollections of the whoops.
No?
Oh, that's going back like
it was at the Hubs. I think it was at the Hubs.
It was because it was the night before my 30th birthday, if I remember right.
Oh, hang on, everything's gone sepia. What's happening?
Yeah. I think it was gas turbine powered, wasn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, it was a dance, a more dancey version of it.
Oh, I forgot about that.
We were having a good time. Whoop whoop.
Just remember the travel lodge on the night after the night where we stayed over. That was great.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get not chucked out of another hotel. Was this in Sheffield?
That was that was different. That was
not the one you got chucked out.
No, you're thinking about the kind of Richmondy time in 2001. So
yeah.
No, John, you're thinking of a completely wrong time.
I know.
There was no sex, drugs, rock and roll, prostitution, kind of gimp masks or anything. It wasn't that kind of night.
Allegedly.
Yeah, letting the side down.
So they're the 9 tracks on the album, and then different countries had bonus tracks, didn't they? So I've got the American one in my hand. The American one's got Estonia Acoustic and Memory of Water Big Beat.
Yeah.
And then the Japanese one has The Space and Fake Plastic Trees from Unplugged at the Walls.
Yeah, I've got both of them. Isn't there a slight sound difference in them? They're mastered differently from what I remember back in the time. It's not a great. They're not like remastered, but they were just a slightly different mastering.
I've played the
Japanese one. Not supposed to be slightly better.
Yeah, is it? I've played the American one recently. I've not played the Jap one for a while. I'll have to dig that out. But then they tarted the whole thing up, didn't they?
Yeah.
They've taken a bit of feedback on board about the different volume levels on different tracks and stuff.
Yeah, taking a bit of feedback on board 15 years later or something.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't that long, though, was it?
The hints were too subtle.
Yeah, it was, actually.
So remixed it in 2012, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
2013.
Released it in 2013. Was that the year they did it at the convention?
Yes.
Yes.
So what do you think of the remix then?
I think it's really, really good. The sound on it is brilliant. It really kind of adds so much depth to the album. But the only thing that I miss is all the little bits, like the segues and the...
Yeah,
I miss the pub singers on 3 Minute Boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the little snippets and things were edited out, weren't they?
Yeah, make it more professional.
For example, Costa del Slau's a lot shorter.
It doesn't have like the frame, like the bits of the jumble of the songs and the mishmash at the beginning with the... I do miss those bits.
But you can play
Under the Sun's 42 seconds longer, though.
Well, it's probably the edit point then, is it? Yeah. It goes into Costa del Slau. I mean, the whole album is nearly 2 minutes shorter on the remix.
Yeah.
You can listen to it because it's all at one volume, which is good. You don't have the issue that you had with Now She'll Never Know being...
Yeah, turn it up to 11 and a half.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the idea. You turn it up.
Yeah, and then these chains
comes blasting in and wrecks your speakers.
But yeah, it was a nice remix. And, when it was reissued by Madfish, it was in a nice digibook. I don't think it is now. I think it just comes in a digipack, but...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
you got both versions with it,
got one as well, yeah.
You got the original mix and the new mix. And I know we talk about the surround mixes on this show, on this podcast. They did a surround mix of this remix, which is on Breaking Records Blu-ray.
Now available, currently available, just reissued, fresh off the wagon from the Racket shop. And I haven't got it. I've never owned a copy of it. So
you're kidding?
No.
You never owned a copy of the Blu-ray?
No.
Did you get the CD?
Didn't get clocks already ticking either. No. Don't know. Not sure why.
That's the good news, is that it's available. Do you want the bad news?
Oh, here we go.
What?
It's not really a surround mix. It's not. It's the second attempt at a surround in inverted commas, and it's not a surround mix. Everything's in the front two speakers, and then the effects kind of wrap round you. It's not. When they put it out again, I hope Mike goes back and remixes the surround like he's done the recent ones, because they're much better. For me, surround should put you right in the middle of the music, and this doesn't. It's like the band are playing on the front of your living room, and then you've got all the ethereal effects wrapping around your head. So yeah. I don't recommend the surround mix. I do recommend the Blu-ray because it's got some fantastic stuff on it. It's got Clocks Already Ticking, Director's Cut, and then Before First Lights on it as well, isn't it?
If we had a Sunlight from 2003?
Yeah. 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great value, and it's 20 quid on Racket Records at the minute.
Yeah, better informed than I am, because I couldn't have told you that.
It is 20 quid, yeah.
And I put it on the system.
But yeah, so I recommend the Blu-ray. Don't recommend the surround. Sorry about that. But you'll be glad to know you don't have all my surround notes this week either.
But the Blu-ray is a cracking Blu-ray, though. I mean, that set list is really, really good from Wolverhampton from 2013. It was almost at the point where the band were kind of like peak weekend in respect of like how many songs they actually physically played over 2013 weekend. I think it's probably the most that they've actually ever done, between doing Radiation on the Friday night with all the songs. I mean, you're talking...
Well, the encores on that, you've got full Radiation, and then you've got 80 Days, Genie, Somewhere Else, Hooks in You, Cover My Eyes, Slange, Lavender, Heart of Lothian, King, Script, and Happiness.
And that was just, but that was just the Friday night. If you look at the Saturday night, that was Brave Live.
Yeah.
And on the Sunday night, there was kind of a fair few other songs, including like Gaza and things like that. So the band had a hell of a lot of songs kind of like rehearsed and done. So I think it was probably one of the busiest weekends for the amount of songs that were actually kind of played over the 3 days. I think if they tried something like that now, it'd be keeling over before you know it.
Well, as Lucy said week before last, that they're looking at doing just 2 days consecutively, even if at PZ they do one night, then a night off, and then two consecutively. So, we're all getting older.
Yeah.
Sad to say. So, touring around that time then. So,
first one that we did was the Web UK convention in August. Was it August 29th at Oxford Zodiac? Was the first time we went to the Zodiac.
Yeah.
Went to the Zodiac. And that was a like an album launch thing as well, because we had before the gig, we're in during the afternoon and we had a playback of the album.
Yeah.
And some goings on, then were kind of chucked out to queue back up to come back in again for the evening gig. And that's when we actually kind of had the first kind of live performances of some of the songs.
Yeah. Well, that 98, the band did a fan club convention in Spain in January. And then in June, they played the 2 nights at the Walls in Oswestry. So that's Unplugged at the Walls album, all the lovely acoustic stuff there, which I'm sure we'll talk about in detail when we review that album. Anything you want to say about that, Mark?
You were there?
Was I the only one that was there?
Yes.
Of the three of us, yes.
Yeah,
I've got a little story about it, about trying to get a ticket.
Well, what happened was I only found out about it because I'd made friends by this point, I'd made friends with quite a few of the guys that were involved in the Web UK, and I was just sitting at home one night and the phone rang and it was Rob Crossland, and he said, "I'm on the toilet, but I've just got wind of this gig that Marillion are doing at a restaurant in Oswestry. So if you want to get in quick." And they hadn't been officially announced, but he gave us a phone number and all that. So I phoned him up and I managed to get 2 tickets. So was lucky to get them.
Fantastic. I rang and couldn't get an answer. So I rang the number for the restaurant, and the lady sat next to the lady selling tickets answered the phone and refused to sell me a ticket on that line.
Oh,
I didn't get in.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
that was a good night.
Well, we'll get you back on to discuss because you were there. But then as Craig says, the Oxford Zodiac gig in August, 29th of August. I remember it being quite hot, wasn't it? Hot day.
Absolutely boiling.
Yeah. Good set list though. Under the Sun, Answering Machine. Bit of a trailer for what would come up on the tour.
Was that Shot in the Dark as well?
That was the year after.
That was the year after.
Right, okay.
Is that right? Is that you?
Yeah, after.
I was lucky enough to go to the album launch in September at the Jazz Cafe. It was one of those where you could get a reservation and eat in the Jazz Cafe. So you were sat upstairs in the balcony, and then you get to see the gig. But I didn't do that. I managed to get a ticket for the gig, but the set list for that was just amazing. Under the Sun, Answering Machine, Cannibal Surf Babe, Man of 1,000 Faces, Wave, Mad, Opium Den, Slide, 3 Minute Boy, Splintering Heart, These Chains, 80 Days, Gazpacho, Cathedral Wall, and then the highlight of the gig for me was Memory of Water Big Beat, which was basically watching Rothers solo for 5 or 6 minutes over this bloody dance bit. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Such a good gig. And it's one of my abiding memories of this time, But you didn't come to that, did you, Craig?
No, but you got us a T-shirt.
I did. I'm good like that. And then they went off to sort of Holland and Germany. Oh, sorry, the Jazz Cafe was 14th of September.
Right, okay.
They played Germany on the 12th. and Utrecht on the 5th. And then they were in Sweden on the 19th of September. They did a Virgin Megastore gig in Paris on the 9th of October.
So I've got that on video somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Right. And then the UK tour started in Reading on the 30th of October.
Yeah, we saw them the day after.
Okay, right. Yeah, we saw them in... I'm told I saw them in Manchester. I can't remember.
Oh, we were there with you, so I think
honestly can't remember.
Yeah. I saw them in Manchester with Craig. And the good thing about that was they did play Now She'll Never Know.
Yeah.
They started with a few words for the dead as well, which was good.
Yeah.
And then they went on to Rock City, Wolves Civic, Aylesbury Civic, the Forum on 6th of November. You were at that, Mark, were you?
Aye, I was at the Forum show. I used to go... My sister lived in London at the time, so I used to go... I would fly down from Aberdeen.
Right.
Quite every so often for a gig, and she would come with us because she quite liked This Strange Engine.
Yeah.
When that came out, so and she was quite partial to Radiation as well, so she would come to the gigs with us. That wasn't when they had. I keep saying that wasn't when. That wasn't when they had the the guy that did the lights for Porcupine Tree, they had like a net on the front of the stage, or was that for .com?
I think that might have been .com.
I think that was, yeah, you're right. It might have been .com.
I think it might have been .com. Because it was like the whirly kind of lights and stuff like that, wasn't it? Yeah.
And they had a net of,
yeah, it was quite psychedelic.
Whirly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was a .com because I can remember them playing house, so it would have been .com.
Yeah,
you're right.
Well, they went off into Germany, did about 6 or 7 dates in Germany, then Rotterdam Ahoy, and finished at the Elise Montmartre in Paris on the 18th of November. So there weren't lots of dates in that year.
No, I think it was from after Strange Engine, and I think it kind of got to the period between Radiation.com and kind of into like Anorak, where the amount of gigs was decreasing quite rapidly per tour because I think the numbers of gig attendances had kind of declined considerably after they left EMI.
Yeah. But for such a shortish tour, we're well served in the Front Row Club. There's 3 releases from it.
Yeah.
So you've got Front Row 1, which is Deberg on the 9th of November. Front Row 19 is Wolves Civic on the 4th of November. And Front Row 24 is the last night of the tour in Paris.
Yeah.
They're very, very similar set lists, apart from Wolves has got Now She'll Never Know on. And weirdly, by the end of the tour, they'd brought back Warm Wet Circles.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the first UK tour where they actually didn't play any kind of Fish Era material at all?
It was, yeah.
And the one thing we were talking about earlier, John, but before talking on the pod, was the different versions of Cannibal Surf Babe and Gazpacho that they actually did.
Well, yeah, I mean, there were some sort of unusual arrangements, let's say. Man of a Thousand Faces, they only played the first half, and then it went straight into Mad.
Which is an odd segue, really.
And I've written... The point that it changes is the bit that we refer to as hold your breasts till you feel it begin.
We don't adjust lyrics at all, do we?
No, we wouldn't do that.
I'm sure that's what he sings. I have it on good authority.
And then, like I said earlier, 3 Minute Boy is weird without the crowd participation at the end.
Yeah.
The version of Splintering Heart that they played is the Moles Club arrangement.
Yeah.
It's a really nice gig. Is not Front Row 1. Electric Answering Machine, which is quite leery, to be honest with you. Like you say, Cannibal Surf Baby is a different arrangement altogether. It's really Pete heavy in the intro. Pete's going bonkers. And it's got a really nice, like, Beach Boys interlude. They've made more of that in the middle of it.
Mm.
TSC starts with Pete on some mega solo. It's not just that little bit at the beginning. He goes off on one. And then right in the middle of I think TSC is something like 20 minutes long. It's got a jam section in the middle.
On the Wolverhampton one, or the German one?
On the German one. I mean, it might be on the Wolves one. I didn't get to play that.
Yes, 23 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
it's a great version.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Memory of Water, which is just Rothers doing his stuff, and Ian trying to avoid having a heart attack playing that fast.
At which point, Mark, should you not be advertising that these albums are available on Bandcamp?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Not my job.
Lucy will be telling you off.
I'm not head of marketing.
You're head of putting things on Tinternet.
Head of
putting things on Tinternet, yeah. Yeah, lots going on, but a really different sound for the band. I mean, there was I was looking on Marillion.com. There's an old eWeb interview from October 98, where I think it must be members of the Molf who sent questions in.
Oh God.
Back in the day.
Yeah. But the first question is, what's with the new sound on Radiation? Is the album a deliberate attempt by Marillion to ditch the prog rock image, particularly in the eyes of the press, and maybe get some new fans, or simply the direction of writing the album took you? To which H says, no, it's not a self-conscious decision. I think we took a decision at the beginning of the writing process that this album would change a few sounds. The guitar sound is something of an experiment, as were a lot of the keyboard sounds. And I suppose it's a radical difference in the guitar sound that's made the biggest difference overall. Mark talks about people picking up on a Radiohead kind of vibe, and Pete's saying he still listens to the Beatles more than anybody else. So
you can hear the influences massively in this album.
Britpop
after Britpop had finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's, there was, I don't remember the feeling in the fans being it was that. I mean, it is very different, but I don't remember there being a big outcry about it. Do you?
Not offhand, no. I mean, I think some people think that they were cynically chasing after other band sounds to try and sound hip and try and sound younger, but I don't think there was a particular conscious effort to do that.
I think they needed to do it though, didn't they?
Oh, they needed to challenge themselves.
Give them a bit of a shot in the arm.
But each album is a reaction to the other. Because I mean, you look at Brave, and then you look at Afraid of Sunlight after it. You could almost say that Brave and Afraid of Sunlight is a natural progression from each other. But I think Brave put Holidays in Eden together with Brave, mash it up a bit. You've got a bit of Afraid of Sunlight. You go on to This Strange Engine, and it was a reaction to Afraid of Sunlight. They went more acoustic, and then after This Strange Engine going at the Radiation, they went very much in the other direction. And then .com was, oh my God, we need to get out of the record label contract. Let's get something out as fast as possible.
You just saved us about 3 podcasts there.
Yeah.
Summed them up.
I'll get my coat.
That's 3 covered off. Yeah, brilliant.
Save the listeners.
Overall, not overall. What have I forgotten?
Well, I think you need to do your favourite slot.
Yeah. I do.
And what's your favourite slot?
It's time for
Just For.
And we have had fan mail about Just for the Record, by the way, which we'll come on to.
Yeah, I can't believe people are complaining about that slot.
Just for the Record, I have in my hands 2013 edition of the album, because it didn't come out on vinyl until the remix. And it is a lovely blue.
Ooh.
A very dark blue. It's very nice. It's on 3 sides. So side 4 is an etched side. But it's obviously of the 2013 remix. It is still available, but not in the blue. It's not coloured anymore.
I was just having a sneaky look.
Just looking on your own website, Mark. Yeah, it's not coloured anymore. But it's a very nice pressing, I have to say. And a lovely, lovely blue colour. If you can find one reasonable, I'd highly recommend it. And that's a very short Just for the Record.
Because there's only one version of the record.
Until the new Super Box comes out in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, the big pile of vinyl.
So overall thoughts on Radiation?
Do you want to play Genius or Bob?
If you want, I'll try and get the tracks in the right order this week then.
Track by track, yeah.
Yeah, go on then. Apologies. So I will give you the benefit of not knowing what Genius or Bollocks is, it's a very simple game. Every track is either Genius or Bollocks. There is no grey area. And that's all you can vote for. You can either say it's Genius, it's fantastic, or it's Bollocks, it's not fantastic. So, we won't do Costa del Slough because that's not...
Genius!
Under the Sun.
Genius.
Genius? Yeah, Genius from me. Answering Machine?
Genius, just for the sheer audacity of it.
Sorry. Can't do that. That's
you
not
know
the rules.
You know the rules.
Not the rules.
I'll still say Genius. Go on.
Right.
Genius.
Genius, yeah. 3 Minute Boy?
Genius.
Completely not a genius. Yeah.
No question about that. Is a genius. Now She'll Never Know?
Genius. I didn't used to think so, but genius.
Yeah, genius from me. These Chains?
Genius.
Genius.
Oh, Gritty Teeth. Genius from me. Born to Run?
Genius.
Just scrapes a genius.
I'm sorry, it's Bollocks. It's Bollocks. Cathedral Wall?
Used to be Genius, now it's Bollocks.
Bollocks.
Genius. A Few Words for the Dead?
Genius.
Genius times a million.
All right. It's Genius now. I didn't think it was Genius before. So I've changed my view on that one.
So we've both swapped a view on par with you. But as an overall album, Genius.
Yeah.
I'm pleasantly surprised by how much I've enjoyed revisiting it.
Yeah.
It's not an album I dig out.
It's aged a lot better than I thought it would. Do you think seeing it live helped as well? Because when it came out, I was a bit, and then once I'd seen most of it live, it sort of clicked a little bit more, and then it seemed to get reassessed as well a little. I think
doing the remix and revisiting it for the conventions has helped people to love it more.
Yeah,
I think as well with the convention, I think it was almost overshadowed by the fact that they were doing Brave it that weekend as well.
Yeah.
So it got love, but I don't think it got as much love as it kind of deserved. I think it's time to give it another airing. I mean, it's been 10 years, so it's not as if it's just been kind of around the corner.
Yeah.
I think it'd be worth kind of revisiting again.
You wanted Radiation 2025 mix?
Why?
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't talked about what it was leaked on Marillion.com, wasn't it? Because for a time, people thought it was going to be called "Don't Try This at Home."
Or
Radiation Leak,
yeah. Sorry, I read that recently and I forgot to mention it. But overall, it's yet another exciting year for the band, I think.
Yeah. I think it was just a shame that back in that tour, I didn't get to see as many dates because I only just saw the fan club gig in Oxford and the gig in Manchester.
Yeah,
problem is that they had at the time was we weren't even a year into the business. Right. The Keiki Empire. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, considering like when Strange Engine came out, that was when I became a hardcore fan sort of thing, and then this comes out afterwards. I thought I would have seen them more, but I only saw them twice.
Well, to be fair, they weren't touring that much this year, were we? That will have had an impact on it as well.
And I think the fact is when they signed to Castle, it wasn't the home that they were promised. They were kind of almost promised the earth, similar to kind of when they signed to Hit and Run with John Arneson. Kind of promised the earth, and the people who promised them the earth didn't deliver on it. So, I think they were burned a little bit with Strange Engine, where the distribution and thing was fine, but the 2 single releases from that didn't help much because there's no push or promotion behind it. And then they spent the money making a video of the single of These Chains, and it was only a limited release single, so they were never going to make their money back and never going to kind of push the album or anything that way on. And hence them coming to the third album. An album a year was kind of... I think that was the issue. Back to the old days.
They're having to pump out an album each year, so they felt under pressure, and they probably wouldn't have released an album every year unless they had to. They probably waited and picked a better batch of songs and developed them.
But I think the thing with .com coming out so soon afterwards, it was definitely a way to kind of get out of the album deal and to look for the fresh new waters that they kind of did, and obviously it worked so much better for them.
We'll talk about .com another time.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it's great. It's been great to revisit it. I highly recommend the 2013 remix, and if you can find it on lovely blue vinyl, definitely recommend that.
I say there wasn't actually a proper live album out at the time, apart from the Front Row Club stuff. There wasn't actually anything available from them.
No.
So if anybody needs the live fix from Radiation albums, Mark, what have they got to kind of go for?
Bandcamp for Lossless and the Racket shop for if anybody still listens. Does anybody still listen to MP3s?
Well, yeah.
Do you? Oh dear.
Yeah, my ears are really old now, Mark. I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
He has like one of those gramophones with the big...
Oh, with
a big horn.
We'll get you an ear trumpet. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get you the thing off the Strange Engine. The pipe bit. We'll snap that off and we'll send it to you, and you can.
It's a hat. Yeah.
And he's on his little kind of bath chair with his tartan slippers and his
all right. I'm
shaking his walking stick, going.
I'm going to change the subject, boys. We've had some lovely messages in. So we ask for emails and messages when we put the new pod episodes up, and there's a couple of people I really want to call out. So if you're not a member of our Facebook group, I do suggest you go on there. We repost stuff from Marillion and tribute bands and all sorts of things. Anything Marillion or Fish related, we try and include on the site. But I want to say a big thank you to John Berger, who has left some massive long reviews of the albums that we've covered. Really, really detailed stuff. And I'm not going to read it all now. Please go and have a look at some of the stuff that John said. Some great reviews on there. And the other person I'd like to give a shout out to is Andy Bliss, who's commented on every episode that we've done. He put some really nice comments on after the episode with Lucy, saying Lucy's quite right about the friendships we've all made through Marillion, and particularly the weekends. I'm sure my story of meeting my wife through our shared love of the band isn't dissimilar to other people's stories. The first time we met briefly was at PZ 2007. And our first date was at the Less Is More warm-up in Brighton in 2009. And amongst a number of Marillion fan friend guests at our wedding in 2014 was a certain Miss Jordash. So thanks for taking the time to put those on there. And we have got 3 emails I'd just like to read out. So Jonathan Worthington has emailed us and said, "Hi, John and Craig. Just wanted to thank you both for a fantastic podcast. My favourite part is definitely Just for the Record." Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you.
Yeah, somebody's got to love it.
I'm passionate about vinyl. The box set reissues are amazing. However, I do have one little gripe, and that is with the vinyl box set, you don't get the Blu-ray documentary. So there you go, Mark. Need to sort that out.
Space.
Yeah,
it's a 7-day trial. 7-day trial.
Absolutely.
And also, why the hell is there no cassette version?
8-track.
Jonathan goes on to say, going back in time, my interest in Marillion began with the release of Market Square Heroes and hearing it on the Friday Night Rock Show with Tommy Vance. My first experience of seeing them play live was on the Fugazi tour, prior to the album coming out at Lancaster University. From then on, I've lost count of the number of times I've seen them. I saw the Misplaced Childhood set 7 times and was stood on the front row at Welcome to the Garden Party at Milton Keynes Bowl. That was a very hot day, so kudos to you for standing at the front all the time.
Bet you had sunstroke.
Happy days with Fish leaving the band. I initially followed the development of both Fish as a solo artist and also Marillion, but as time went by, I stopped following Fish. The Hogarth era of Marillion is now my favourite period of the band, with all 5 members of the band being responsible for the evolution of the music. Anyway, thanks for the podcast and keep up the good work. Best wishes, Jonathan Worthington. Thank you, Jonathan. We do appreciate that.
See if he's still saying that after this.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll test him. We've had an email from Colin Pownall who says, just wanted to drop an email to say how much I'm enjoying your podcast Excellent one with Lucy and Ian. I don't know who lives in York, but my daughter goes to York St John University. It's a lovely city. Are there any Marillion references to York? I live in York, and I'm not aware of any references to York. I mean, the band have played here on the last couple of tours, but and then you also ask about any ideas on a reasonably priced 5.1 system so you can play the surround mixes. I'll reply to your email, Colin, with some pointers, but richer sounds would be the answer for me. And then finally, you may know who this is from once I've read it. This is regarding our recent podcast interview with Lucy, and it's titled Me and Mrs. Marzipan. Well done on another great podcast. I thought that the lady you interviewed was very knowledgeable about all things Marillion. If I was John Arneson, I would get her on the team ASAP. Keep up the good work. Mr. K. Lee. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Lee. Or is it Mr. Evans? Mr. Evans in disguise. That's just a sample of some of the feedback that we're getting. We do appreciate it all. Thanks for the love we're getting about the podcast. We love just coming on here with our friends and talking about our favourite band.
And talking absolute rubbish.
Absolutely. We
Speak
maintain that standard.
Oh, I do.
But yeah, if you've got any ideas for things we can cover, we're rattling through the albums. We are going to go off and do some pods on tribute bands. We're going to I think we're planning something about the first convention, aren't we?
Yes, we're kind of going to be rounding up ye old cakey boys.
Yeah.
Stalag 664, remember that?
Stalag 664, yeah.
The neighbour of the beast.
We've a few things planned. We're going to do something about the All One Tonight, the first Albert Hall gig. But if you've got any ideas for things you'd like us to talk about, or if you'd like to come on, email us at...
Don't look at me.
I'm looking at him. Planet Marzipan podcast
at gmail.com.
Okay, I'm really going to test you now then.
Oh, don't ask us about Twitter. I can never remember
the
what
Twitter handle.
X account. You know what it is. I can't remember.
You set it up
every week, and I can never remember it.
At Planet Mars Pod, isn't it?
Something like that. Google it.
All right.
Okay.
Cheers, we'll make it difficult, but no. Mark, thank you very much for coming on.
No problem.
We'd love to have you back again. Thank you for speaking to us. Great to see you, fella.
No bother.
And Craig, nice to see you too.
Love you, Mrs. Marzipan. I'm Mrs. Marzipan.
I'm Mrs. Marzipan. Okay, fair enough. Thanks for listening. It's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Take care.
Stay alive.
Yay! See ya. Thank you all.
Flew here to see you. My feelings tonight. Down on the city, from up in the sky, the sun was reflecting from the roofs and the water. Spring had come early in the parks and the old town. We came with a mission to pledge up a dream. We walked and I talked and my words were absorbed into the answering machine. 2,000 miles just to take a look at you. Held out my arms, it's like holding a statue. I looked into the mirrors where your eyes used to be.
Thanks for listening to Planet Marzipan Podcast. Please like and subscribe from whichever platform you get your podcasts from. You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com and check out Marillion.com, fishmusic.scot or fishmusic.eu for all the good